Welcome to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, we take a quick dip into the world of seed saving. We rescue the chilies before the first frost hits, and we go a little crazy with bulb mania. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good morning. It's Tuesday and someone's opened the door to Antarctica because it's cold out there. And I know, because the family keep telling me, that it's not actually that cold here in New Zealand over winter, but I got my jumper on. So yeah, it's a bit chilly willy. So Tuesday morning, no gardening because it's out there. It's not actually raining per se at the moment, but it's not warm enough to be out there by any push of imagination. So I'm going to do something else gardening related. Seed saving. So the table behind me, or tables behind me, over spring and early summer, are usually covered with seedlings or seedling related stuff. But come around about Christmas time, as this thing, flowers especially, are starting to go over and things, the table becomes my seed saving area. Now, the other thing that I collect from neighbours, family, friends and what have you are ice cream containers, because these are really handy for seed saving. We don't eat a lot of ice cream, but, well, not, like tubs of it. So I just ask locally if anyone's got some, and I always manage to get some. So yeah, I have been collecting seeds and that's what I'm up to today. Now, how to collect seeds? Well, it depends on the actual plant. So this one here, excuse the rattle of the seeds, is Nigella. Really easy to collect. The other one I've got here are the huge big peony poppies, also really easy to do. Other seeds, not so much. They can be harder to actually get to the seed pod, or they might be so tiny that it's just almost impossible to actually collect them. So what I'm thinking of is toadflax, anti-ryman. Those seeds are so tiny that it's almost impossible to collect. If you've got the right gear maybe, but I just find I let those self-seed in the garden instead. I do mainly only save flower seeds because a lot of the vegetable seeds can cross-pollinate and you don't get a true plant. So things like the brassicas, a lot of the brassicas, yeah, they'll bolt and you'll get seed pods, etc. But because home gardeners have a lot of brassicas in one area, they can actually cross-pollinate and you'll end up with some weird-looking plants. Another one that does that are the cucurbits, so things like zucchinis, scallopinis and what have you. And I've had that happen with my scallopini and my courgette. I saved the seeds one year. I grew them on and I ended up with these funny green blobs that weren't very nice. They were horrible tasting things, very bitter. So yeah, pumpkins are similar. So, when you can save seed from a pumpkin maybe that's been commercially grown, you're more likely to probably be able to grow that as a true plant because it will have been grown in a field of all the same pumpkins. Whereas at home, you might have two different varieties. So like for me, it's usually butternut and crown prince. So the likelihood of them cross-pollinating because they're grown in the same bed is really high. So it's not really worth me keeping those seeds because they won't grow true to the plant. So yeah. Other vegetable seeds you can grow onto seeds and what have you. Things like onions, definitely you can do that. They don't tend to cross as much. Lettuce is a good one if you want to let your lettuce go through to seed. Silver beet. Any of those ones are fine, the leafier ones, and they don't require a big number of other plants beside them going to seed at the same time so that you actually get fertile seeds. Now, someone who does a lot of this is Charles Dowding. So it's well worth going through his videos and his shorts to see about seed saving and things like that. While he does use commercial seed, he also does save a lot of his own seed, and he talks a lot about what will breed true and what won't breed true. So definitely well worth watching him. So I'm not going to spend ages in front of the camera going through seed saving physically. There are a lot of YouTube channels, how-tos and what have you, that will focus on like one variety, on how to save a seed on that particular variety. So like with poppies, so you can go in and do an individual search. But with my ones here, just trying to hear if I've got any seeds left, because they've been sitting in the container just dropping their seeds for some time. This is a peony poppy, and as you can see, it's got quite a big thing, and they are really structural when they are finished and well worth just leaving for a bit. But you've got to be careful you don't lose your seed. I'm not sure if you can see on camera, but there's sort of little windows there. As this lid lifts, it opens the wee windows. And the seed's really easy to get out. You just basically just got to shake it like that. And the same with all poppies, doesn't matter what size they are. It's just easier to show you on this one. And there, see? I think you can just see the seed at the bottom. So yeah, I'm going to potter around doing that, and maybe at the end of the day I will show you what I've done for the day, packet-wise. Silly me, I forgot to talk about how to store your seeds. So some people store their seeds in little plastic bags or cut-up envelopes and things like that. Yeah, whatever rocks you. So I don't like plastic because I think the seed can sweat. So I go for paper. And I just bought a huge box of these little pay envelopes. These are the ones that in the theory you can get your pay packet on. They're not very sticky, so I tend to fold them over a couple of times at least. Excuse me, rattling around. And just use paper clips once I've got them folded over 2 or 3 times, and just clip them. And that way I've got easy access to the seeds without having to open the seal more than once. And yeah, so that works really well for me. And of course, don't forget to name your seeds and date when you've harvested them roughly, so that you know that they say maybe March 2026, so that you haven't got really old seed that might be 10 years old sitting there and you're thinking, oh, when did I harvest that? So yeah, that works really well. And when I go to seed swaps and what have you, I just take a big container of these I've got, and yeah, people can put their seeds that they want. I usually use an old measuring spoon, teaspoon at a time or a half teaspoon depending on the type of seed, because that's usually enough for a person starting their own garden area. So that works well. And I got gifted a whole lot of these little plastic trays. So I have my own home seeds, safe seeds, sitting in these by type, so like poppies or whatever. So yeah, works well for me. Right, so I just potted away, and I've got a whole bowl of these. So these are the peony poppies. They're a huge poppies. The plant itself is huge, and the poppy itself is, the flower is huge, as you can tell from this seed head. So as I said earlier, I collect my seeds into paper. Now I normally would measure out for a poppy about half a teaspoon per packet, but today I'm just going to pop the whole lot in one. Well, maybe the whole lot, depends on how well I go. And then if I do some seed swaps, I'll just dish it out into separate packets then. Now, to get it into the packet from the bowl, I just go to the old funnel that we have in the kitchen for cordials and other things. So I just pop it in there like that. And hopefully, she says, holding her breath, it should go in. It usually does. Oops, got a wee bit on the side. Might have to reposition a bit. And there we go. And might have to do 2 packs, but yeah, that's what I do. And then just fold her over, and with poppies I usually do a few folds because they're fine. Seal it up like that, and then pop my paper clips on, and depending on how good my paper clips are, because they get reused and reused, I usually only use 2, but occasionally if the paper clips are getting a bit knackered I'll put a couple on, and then it just goes like that into a basket, and then I've got a shelf over there that I keep all my seeds on, and when I need it I can grab it. Right, I'm just going to keep pottering along, doing a few other things in between seed saving today. The one thing you do need to do, especially with these really fine seeds, not so bad with the big chunky seeds, is actually wash things and let them dry properly in between, because you can end up with potentially contamination between seeds. So if I went from the poppies into the nigella are a bit chunkier, but I could potentially contaminate my nigella seeds. So I'll give these a wash. But I think that's about it for me today for recording. So I will probably catch up with you tomorrow. I've got a couple of things planned. Whether they pan out, we'll see. But see you soon. Good morning. It's Thursday and it stopped raining, which is great. The sun is out and there's no wind, which is even better. So it cleared last night and there's snow on the Southern Alps here in Canterbury. So that will mean frosts. Now, as I've indicated a few other times, being coastal, we don't really get hit by the frosts unless they're really, really hard. Saying that, it did get cold last night. Here in the greenhouse it was 6.3. So with the cold weather, the wet weather this week, the chilli plants have really just said, yeah, nah, they've had enough. So as I've tried in the past to winter over my chilli plants with very little success, I'm not going to bother this year, and I'm going to use the area for growing other things like I've already got in, like my spinach, my carrots, my onions, and I'm just going to keep on using this space over winter to just keep on with veggies that we can use fresh. So after several days of not being able to get out into the garden, it's really nice to be outside again. So I wasn't too sure if where I'd been working down the big raised border at the front garden might be a bit boggy after the rain that we've had, but it's good. I've just been over and checked. Last winter it was quite difficult in the middle of winter and late winter to work on that area, because for the first time since we've been here, that area was really, really wet. So my plan for today is just to quickly harvest the chilies off here, because we're forecast a harder frost or colder night coming. So I'll just get the chilies off so that they won't get damaged. And then I'm actually going to go over, finish doing that dirt in the far end, which was the thistle patch, and hopefully start getting my bulbs in today, which would be really great. So that's the plan. Tomorrow's looking good. So while it will be cool in the morning, once I've done a few things on the side, I'll be back out and see how far I've got today to what I'm going to do tomorrow. So I'm just going to harvest these now, and I'll show you what results I get. Looking at them, there's a few half-ripe ones. Maybe, maybe not. Right, not a huge haul, but definitely can see that the plants took off after I got rid of all the other stuff that was overshadowing them. So like the orange habanero, I only sort of got 3 fruits off it before I got it out from behind everything else, but it started putting out a lot more. They're green, they might ripen inside. I'm not holding my breath, but they're still good to eat. My good old standard cayenne chili. Yep, that's produced plenty. Got a few green ones, but they'll be okay. And the orange, not the orange, the yellow argy has put out a few more pods. And while most of them have ripened, sorry, all the rattling, that's probably been picked up on the sound. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm happy with that. I've got some inside that are just sitting on in the cupboard away from prying putty cat paws, because Beau thinks it's hilarious if anything's sitting on the bench to whip it out, bat it around the house overnight when he's meant to be asleep. So I've popped them up in the cupboard so he can't do that. So yeah, between the ones I've got and these ones, I'll probably make pop them in the dehydrator and make up a bit of chili powder. So, right, I'm going to head off outside now, and you don't need to see me putting dirt in, but when it comes to bulbs, I'll bring you back. So the bed is now completed as far as topping it up at the moment. I've just finished the far end down there, aka the thistle bed. The only bits that now need to be done are the fuchsia and the rose and the lavender. They'll all need lifting and either moving or just popping back to where they were. But I've gone around and I've put little lumps of wood with where I'm going to move things to, so that they don't get knocked out like the little plastic stakes were getting knocked out by the cats. So pretty happy with the way I spaced things out. So yeah, found quite a lot of bulbs. This whole tray that's just sitting here is got tulips, daffodils, a few freesias and some bluebells in there. So I'm going to start planting those out in a few minutes, and I've also got my box of stuff as well, so I'll do a mix of new and old. I won't get them all in here, but that's good because I want to put them into the beds here, which hopefully tomorrow, the weather's looking good, I'll get onto them and start with those, because I'd like to get them done and bulbs in them, and then that's them done except for pruning the trees, which I'll do in July. Now on my Facebook page, someone said in a comment yesterday, about the time of year for pruning fruit trees. Now yes, fruit trees that are clingstone fruit, stone fruit, usually get done after they're fruited. Yeah, that's a purist about it, and I'm no purist about it. I tend to do my trees in the middle of winter because I can do everything all at once, and I remember then, so that works for me. So, and it doesn't seem to affect the trees. Yeah, I've got leaf curl on my peach, but it doesn't matter what you do with a peach, it seems to get leaf curl, so it will get sprayed this year. As much as I dislike spray, I will give that a spray. Yeah, so that's about that. So I'm going to maybe set up for a bit of speedy. I'm not expecting to get a lot done now, so it might ooze over in tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, off I go. some bulbs in. I need to get onto the other side of the bed, which means setting up over there, and I can't be bothered doing that today. It's getting cold out here. The shade of the house is starting to get me, and the breeze has got up, so I'm going to call it for the day and think I've done pretty well considering I haven't done anything out in the garden for several days. I'm quite pleased with where I am. So yeah, catch you tomorrow really. See you then. Good morning. It is Friday and it's beautiful out here. It's just coming up to 11 in the morning. We did have a bit of a frost here, nothing compared to what they'd have further inland, but definitely got down to just above 4, so yeah, a bit chilly willy. Not as cold as some places would have, I know, but yeah. So I'm out here to get on with things today. So in theory I should be getting on with the bulbs, but I decided I needed to deal with this only because this bed loses the sun quite quickly during the day. So if I got on with the bulbs, this place would probably be in the shade by the time I got back to it, whereas the bulbs area will stay in the sun a lot longer. Now, I talked about this earlier in the year that I wanted to get rid of the lemon balm. Love it as a plant in the sense that, you know, like picking off the leaves and things like that and using them, but it's a bully plant. And this bed is not big enough for it. My bad. So I'm going to remove it and then open up the bed a bit more for other stuff. So I'll probably replace it with some bulbs and things like that to start with. I've still got cosmos over there flowering and the bees are using it, so I'm going to leave that. And the Aquilegia, which is just down here, has self-seeded, so definitely going to be leaving that, but I will try and just top up around it. The beds here haven't dropped as much as the main big long bed. I have been topping them up though, so yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, this is going this morning. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'll often cut things down and put them in a bucket and then tip them out into the bins and things. Reason I do that is because it stops me twisting and moving as much, and I can just drop straight down, then get up, dump it with less twisting. So that's the reason behind that. But the reason why I bring it up this morning is I had left some iris leaves and things like that that I'd cut down yesterday when I was just doing that last bed there because they just were in the way. And this morning I'm looking for my snips, and I had emptied this bucket first thing this morning, well, first thing that I've been out this morning, into the green bin. And I couldn't find my snips, and then I went and stuck my head into the green bin, and lo and behold, there were my snips. Typical me. I do it with scissors all the time, and I'm not as bad as some other family members with things like potato peelers. I'll often find potato peelers in the compost as I'm going through it. But yeah, and teaspoons is the other thing that seems to somehow magically end up in the compost bin. And not just from the wee one that I use out in the garden. These are multiple. So yeah. Anyway, onto this, we'll do a bit of speedy, and then once that's done, we'll get out and onto the far side of the bed, the roadside or the long drive side, and get those other bulbs in. accomplished. I knew it was going to be a bit of a hole to get out of the bed, and I was right, but I deployed the trusty axe and that helped heaps. Really interesting how much that has taken out of the soil. It's really just powdery. So I'm going to pop a wee bit of stuff in there and just move things around a bit more. Going to pop some bulbs in here for now, and it'll be a nice corner for them anyway, long term. So I'm thinking I'm going to go tulips. So these are the Energy for All ones, and I might do those at the, like at the back. And then I'm going to put the Montana freesias here. So yeah, that'll be a nice little combination, I think. So the freesias in that corner with some tulips around maybe near the base of the tree, because this tree's only been in there not quite a winter yet, well, quite a year yet. Went in last winter to replace the one that had given up due to its excessive root pruning when I got it from the nursery. So yeah, just going to tidy up the cosmos, as I said too, but that's an after lunch project, I think. And then after lunch I'm going to set myself up over on the driveway and get in the rest of the bulbs along there for now. But I'll just get on with this myself, and I'll catch up with you on the other side of lunch. It's after lunch now, which is great. I finished off that bed and I've taken some photos, so I'll pop them up there. So I'm quite pleased with that. I've left a good amount of the cosmos. Some of it had broken, so I just took those bits off and tidied the bed up generally, topped it up. And so other than just doing a bit of tightening of the tree straps and that wee bit of dirt once the cosmos is finished flowering, that's done for the winter basically. I've popped some bulbs in there, and yeah, I'll probably just leave that till spring now. So I've popped back over to the big bed, because that's where the sun is at the moment, and in a minute I'm going to go over to the other side and set myself up. But this area here where I am now, this side of the first fuchsia down to where the rosemary is, was the area that I did very first. So that's probably about 2.5 weeks ago. And while I topped it right up and over and above, it has settled, which I knew it would. So I'm actually going to just spend 10 minutes or so and pop some more soil on it now before I go to the other side and start planting bulbs over there. So yeah, I'll catch you up when I'm on the other side of the bed. Right, that's that area topped up with soil, which is good, and I'll just keep doing that over winter. So hopefully come summer and autumn and what have you, it'll still be at a good height. That's the wind starting to get up, so I need to get a move on with the bulbs and things like that. I lifted these by accident sort of thing with the last area of I did down the far end, and I did damage the bulb, but I've been looking up some can you plant damaged bulbs, and it basically said go for it, just do it. So I think these are tulip, I'm not sure. They look too big to be a daffodil or anything like that. The only other thing that they could be, and I don't think they are, looking at the bulbs I've bought, which are the snowflake. So I think these are tulips. So I'm going to plant these. I've got 4 that I could get out, and then there were some that were just cemented in with the dry dirt, so I've just left them and buried them under the extra soil. So I'm going to get them in, and then I'm just going to use the last of the bulbs, which was the Energy for All, which I planted in that far bed just before. So I'm going to pop them there, and I'm going to move them away that way, and we'll just do a bit of speedy and see how things go before the wind drives me in. Okay, so that's the bulbs done in the front border. A few in the other bed today, but I've still actually got heaps, which is nice because I've still got 4 beds to go, square beds. Then the little ones that lead up to the arbour and away from the arbour, and I've also got the flower bed out the back, which needs a big tidy up this year. So I could spread them out, and if all else fails, I've got pots and I'll put them in pots. So I should have a good display. My biggest thing with them is when I'm planting them, I would love to plant them way closer. But the whole idea for this revamp, as far as raising the soil up and what have you, was when I did dig the bulbs up, to split them up and make sure that they had plenty of room to multiply. So I had to keep telling myself, not too close, because in a year or two they will spread, and that's what you want. So it's like when I'm planting seeds, I have to keep telling myself, not too much, because I just get carried away. Now, it's after 3 o'clock, I know that because the kids are out of school, I can hear them all, and the sun is starting to dip behind the house. So I'm probably going to leave it there for this week, except for the coffee and chat. And if I stay out for anything longer, I might just start tidying up 1 or 2 of the little square beds that are still in the sun, but they're not going to stay in the sun long, so I'll probably only have 10, maybe 15 minutes to do that. So yeah, I'll catch up with you for the coffee and chat. Well, it's that time of week again for a coffee and a chat, though I've got a cup of tea today, just to be a bit different. So it's actually Saturday afternoon, about mid-afternoon, and it's lovely out here, just enough warmth to be pleasant. So what did we get up to this week? Well, we started off the week inside because of the wet weather, and we did a bit of seed saving. Now, I only got a wee bit done. I got the poppies, the big penny poppies done, and I got the nigella done. So, yeah, I'll leave the rest and do it on other days that are wet and that I'm stuck inside. It'll give me a wee bit of a gardening flavour to wet days. It's well worth saving your own seeds if you can, especially flower seeds. And, you know, I also save chilli seeds, tomato seeds, capsicums, that sort of thing. And it just helps spread the dollar a bit more. Once it stopped raining here in Canterbury, they started forecasting frost, so I went out and harvested my chillies before the frosts arrived. I'm glad I did, because it dropped down to about 4 degrees in the greenhouse, so pretty happy that I got them before it damaged them at all. Then the rest of the week was all about bulbs, with the exception of removing the lemon balm. So yeah, I got all my bulbs in that I wanted in the front border. I've still got heaps, and I'll put them in those other raised beds, the ones with the fruit trees in, and along where the arbour is as well. Plus, I've got a bed out here in the back garden. That's my flower bed, so it needs a good zhuzh up this year. So I'll pop some of them in there as well. So I'm pretty happy with what I got done this week, considering that probably the first 4 days or so were pretty yuck in the weather. I mean, I know we got hardly anything compared to other areas, but you know, you were stuck inside, so I didn't get that much done. To anyone who's visiting the page for the first time, or you've popped back and had a look, please consider subscribing. It helps grow the channel, and as I grow the channel, I can get other things done. If you have subscribed in the past, just check that you're still subscribed, because YouTube's got this happy knack of just deleting your subscription from a channel. It's one of those glitches, and it's annoying, but that's what happens. If you want to see more of what I get up to on a daily basis, come follow me on my Facebook page, same name, The Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, and I list the things that I'm up to each day, post photos, chats about what Beau and Lou are up to, all that sort of thing. But for now, I'll leave it there, and until next week's vlog, it's bye from me.